Welcome everyone to the MSI MOA 2014 edition. That's the second day of the competitions today. I'm Truthman from OverClocking-TV and
I'm Dennis Garcia from Hardware Asylum.
welcome to Taipei, Taiwan for the MSI MOA 2014 editions. This is the second day, as I say. This is the no-limit battle. There is no limit at all, no limit in the rules, no limit for people to bench with as many things as they want. That's going to be a fun day, don't you think?
Well, yes, except they do have limits.
Yeah, they do have some limits, but it's actually quite open.
Yeah,
so,
it's very open actually.
So what is actually today the goal of the MOA No Limits battle? What is the No Limits?
They're after hardware points.
Okay, so how do you gain the hardware points? Do you just run a benchmark and just go online and that's it?
Pretty much. Like for instance, Wizardly yesterday, he was running some very obscure Haswell dual-core processors that are not normally used in the enthusiast space for overclocking.
And because he was the only one to use it, he was gaining points for that.
Yeah, he was getting the highest score within that hardware, within that segment of the hardware. So he gets points for that. Some of the other overclockers are using R9 290 or 280X cards, which are not used as much in the overclocking space as well. Mm-hmm. So those will also garner some good points aside, provided that they can get above the people that have already submitted.
Okay. But today it's the second day. So we had the classic battle yesterday, and today there's the regular one, like 2 hours per benchmark, 3 benchmark, you get points for that, and you qualify to get some cash. Yep. Today, that's the no-limit. They have 15 benchmarks, 15 or 16 benchmarks?
They have a total of 15 benchmarks that they are allowed to run and get points for. The majority of them are going to be 3D benchmarks. Some of them are full system like 3D Marco 3 and 3D Marco 5, but still with a good video card you can get some good points for that. Then we also have the standard 3D benchmarks, so DirectX 11 based, Firestrike, DirectX 11 Heaven, or Heaven benchmark, which is DirectX 11. The Catzilla, which is one that we watched on stream yesterday.
That was the last one of the day. We had some fun commenting that. I mean, I had fun making some weird noise, trying to dub the sound of the benchmark. You will see that later today.
Yep. So,
and overall, all these benchmarks, they can just pretty much use any hardware from MSI.
Yep.
Like everything that went out in the last year and a half can be used for this part of the competition.
It's kind of a line in the sand in terms of year and a half. Motherboard wise, it's Z87 or Z97, X79, and X99. The competitors were given an X99S MSI board.
Yeah, the latest one from with the X99 chipset on it.
And they're allowed to use a 5960X, which was provided by Intel, so they'll be using that one, or they can use anything that they brought with them.
So they can bring their own CPU if they want, they can bring their own motherboard if they want, as long as they fit to the chipset requirements.
Yeah,
they can use any VGA they want, as long as it's MSI graphic cards also.
Yeah, there's a list actually. There's like 20 different cards that we can use. We can pull that out real quick and take a look at it.
Sometimes you had to read the manual.
Yeah, so we'll flip through and I'll read them off actually, so we all know.
The rules are quite long for this one because there's a lot of lists you can do. You can make, as we say, you have a lot of different hardware chips that you can, a motherboard chip that you can use, and for all that you have sometimes multiple kind of motherboard you can use, although at the same time. Overall, we will go through all the list of the benchmark and so on later in the day. But what do you expect from today? Would you expect to submit a lot of scores, and would you expect to finish in the top ranking for this day?
That is a good question, because we'll have to go around and see what everyone brought, because they're limited by whatever they put in their backpack over here or bought at one haul or something. So I expect good scores from people that are going to be doing 3D benchmarks, because there's obviously a lot more that they can run, and they have 1 card, 2 card, 3 card, and sometimes 4 card to be able to get points for.
There's actually more combination when you use VGA, because the way you can get the global scores, the global hardware points and stuff like this is if you run 1 VGA, you get some points. You get 2 times the same VGA in SLI or Crossfire. You get another set of points, and you can do the same with 3 and 4 cards. So every time you have that, you basically can combine all that and get even more points. That's what happened yesterday with Tolsty. Tolsty was benching the R9 290X.
Yes.
So he had like a setup of 4 graphic cards, but only 3 under liquid nitrogen, and the 4th one was like in a weird way to be displayed.
Yeah, it was on a riser card, and he put 2 pieces of wood across the video cards that were mounted, and then he had his 4th card mounted to that. And all of them were, 3 of them had LN2 pots on there, and he was just pouring to keep it around 20 degrees. And then he had the air card running on top of that. So
that was funny to see. Like it's half of a Frankenstein system just to make it work.
You have to get creative sometimes, that's for sure.
So that way you just have to remove the 4th card, and you can bench the 3 card at higher frequencies.
Yeah, the M-powered board that he's using, I believe it's the one that was provided for the classic battle. It doesn't have the PCI Express disable switches on it, so you have to physically remove the card. Otherwise, he could go in there and just flip a switch, disable that PCI Express lane, and be able to do 1, 2, 3, 4 cards without touching anything.
That's good. Well, sometimes you will run into some condensation issue if you just do like this. Like you keep on pouring the LN2 on some of the 2 cards, but one is like not doing anything, so the water gonna the condensation gonna warm up, make some water, end up on the board, and as we were always having as extreme overclockers, we need to avoid having water anywhere we can. We don't want to have water on the computer.
Want to watch out for water. All right, so you had a question about what video cards they could use. And we got a short list here.
Sure.
Actually, pretty short. So, let's see, R9, 290X, 1, 2, 3, and 4. The 290, 1 through 4. The 280X, 1 through 4, the 280, which is 3, and I believe that's the one that Stefanzi is going to be running. We have the 270X, which is 1 and 2, and then a 270, which is also 1 and 2. And that's based off of how many crossfire fingers are across the top. And then,
so that's for, so let's say that you have the 290X, so you have 4 of them. You can run them 4, 3, 2, and 1. Right. But that's if you have like 290X and a special like 290X or 290X something, you can do exactly the same. You just need 4 set of cards every time.
Yep. And then with that, you're also able to run all of the 3D benchmarks, which total 8.
Well, that's a lot.
Yeah, you can get a lot of points for that. That's why I expect the video card guys to actually kind of walk away with most of the points.
There's also the way that you can use any kind of Intel Pentium CPUs, as well as long as it's from the Pentium or Asphalt series back. There's some limitation that need to be the latest one, actually the 2 last revision of the CPUs. You can use either some Ivy Bridge E as well, E as well regular one, as well refresh, and Pentiums. That's a lot.
Well, the CPU is based off of the motherboard, so anything that will fit those will be able to be used. But you're always going to want to use the latest one because of the performance gains. Let's see, on the NVIDIA side, we have the 780 Ti's, which is 1 through 4. We have the 780, which is 1 through 4. The 770, which is 1 through 3, which is a driver limitation. And then we also have 760 is 1 through 3, 750 Ti, which is 1 and 2, and then a regular 750, which is also 1 and 2.
Well, that's a lot of combination, and they can use the MSI GTX 780 Ti Lightning they got from yesterday. The Ti Lightning, there's only pretty much the guys here that have it because it's a special edition for MOA.
Right. So
they know that if they compete now, they're just gonna compete against each other, and they already benched it yesterday, so they can get even better point for that.
Yeah.
Well, who is your favorite for today for that?
Oh, I'm going to go for Stefanzi today. I was talking to him at breakfast this morning, and he brought in his 280 cards. He's going to be doing 1, 2, and 3. He has a 5960X that has the Uncore mod done to it, so he's going to be able to get some amazing memory overclocking out of that. And the fact that he's running 3 cards across 8 benchmarks, that it's in an obscure category, is going to almost guarantee him hardware points.
Interesting. I will cheer for my country mate. I will cheer for Wizardy, because Wizardy is actually what he did is he looked at the list of CPU that was on the LWBot website where you can get the all the points and so on, and you check which one are on the bot and which one are on sales. And it's just basically about any CPU that were not there. So every time he's just plugging the computer, running the benchmark, he knows he can get points. It's not that many points because there's no competition for it, but still it's fun to
well, and another bit of strategy there is we have our benchmark list, which I'll go through real quick. SuperPi, PiFast, 3D Mark 03, 05, Aquamark 3, Hardware Prime XDU, Cinebench, which is 11 and 15, W Prime, and 3D Mark Firestrike, 3D Mark 11 Performance, Heaven, 3D Mark Vantage, and Catzilla. Every one of those has a CPU component as well. So if Wizardly goes through all of his CPUs, he's not limited to just the 2D ones. He can submit the other ones as well.
That's going to be interesting too.
Yeah, although the Hardware puts preference on video card in the 3D benchmark versus CPU, but he still submits scores.
So as you say yesterday, because it was like, oh, I just have to mount the system, run it, and I get points for it. So that's actually, he mounted two systems side by side. Like one with I think it was a G3430, and then on the other side was like a G3240. That's the very low end Pentium. It's like $20, $30 CPUs. And he was saying like, oh yeah, I can make two systems at once, and it's like I just get double the points. Yeah, I think the Indonesian guys are doing the same.
Oh, cool.
They have one setup for the graphic cards, so they will be testing, I think, the 3-way, 2-way, and 1-way to get a point in that. And they have on the side a slow one where they just use like crappy CPUs just to put in that and just gain points.
Yeah, and you can put your CPU pod on there and basically just tend it once every 20 minutes or so.
You don't need to go cold because you cannot. Most of the low-end CPUs you cannot overclock them. You can just overclock the base clock. So it's very limited overclock. Well,
so let's can we look around the room, see what everyone's doing?
Who can we have? We have Nacho Arroyo that is actually trying to heat up the system in insulating his graphic card. So what is Nacho Arroyo on the right side is doing right now on the screen?
That looks like he is insulating a video card. He's got his hair dryer out. Well, he covered the whole thing in Vaseline. He's using the hair dryer to heat it up so it'll flow around all of the electrical components. And then once it cools back down, then it becomes waterproof. Although he just went and got a box, so we'll actually watch him for a little bit. We'll see what he's doing.
I don't know what kind of brush card that is. I think that's the Lightning from yesterday.
Yeah, it's the Lightning from yesterday.
So that's the GTX 780 Ti Lightning MOA edition. That's a special edition that they have right now to... I mean, that was the special one they made for these competitions. Because the 780 Ti is now, you can say, like end of life, because there's the 980 GTX that is out now. But the thing is, some of the overclockers still like this card because it's a card made only for them. It's dedicated to them. You can use that to game if you want, but there's very strong VRAM, there's very strong power delivery on it to make it work even faster.
Well, technically, the 780 Ti is faster than the 980. It just uses more power. It's been around a little bit longer. By the looks of it, Nacho was cleaning that card up to put it back in the box. He had another system running. He had the 980 gaming running over there. So now we have an SLI system, 2 cards. Actually, yeah,
I think that's Mike. I think that's Mike CDM.
No.
Nope.
I believe that's Gunslinger.
Oh yeah, Gunslinger, true. Maxim is on the east side.
Yeah.
So as you can see, there's a lot of smoke. There's a lot of ice going on.
It's not smoke, it's vapor. It is nitrogen vapor.
Oh, so it's not hot. It's
hot.
Very cold.
Very cold. You can actually breathe it if you wanted to suffocate.
But we are breathing nitrogen, but not liquid one right now.
Well, the thing is, the nitrogen that's off-gassing here is pure nitrogen. What we're breathing is 80% nitrogen and 20% oxygen.
Yeah,
the oxygen is what we need.
But we don't need too much, otherwise that's going to be...
Actually, go back to Gunslinger. We'll talk about what he's got here.
Gunslinger. Let's go back to Gunslinger.
So in this shot, I'm not sure exactly what cards he's using, but these look like the Lightning Edition cards that they were using for benchmarking. The card closest to the CPU has green liquid electrical tape on it for insulation. And it looks like on the other card he's just using paper towels. So And the amount of frost that is on there means that he's running close to probably negative 140. It's been doing that since he got here, so that's been an hour now.
Other one thing that we're gonna have today is 8-pack and Pepino run. Well, that's 8-pack and Roman. That will be overclocking a 4-way SLI system with the 980 GTX, the latest one on the NVIDIA GPU.
Yep.
So we will have some feedback from the screen as well as the camera on them. But they're still setting up some of the systems.
Yeah, that'll be a little bit later.
Yeah, they will have anyway some troubles to make sure that the system is working. Because 4-way SLI is a very, let's say, not risky business, but something very difficult to make it work every time.
They're temperamental is the word you're looking for.
Let's switch to Zizulio. So Zizulio from Denmark. He was taking it easy, the competition yesterday. He was actually quite tired. We had a chat when we went back home. And says, yeah, I'm just gonna do my thing tomorrow. I have time. The overclockers are from, they started like an hour ago, and they still have like 7 hours or so.
5 to go.
Yeah, 5 hours to go. So they have like a decent amount of time to make sure that they can deliver on the scores.
Yeah. Can we bring up Stepanzi on the end?
Do we have Stepanzi on the inside? No. We have OC Wingforce. We don't have Stepanzi for this.
Oh, we have Vivi. Let's see what Vivi's doing. Because we have something new that we can look at here. Vivi. All right, chat. Here's a question for you. We have 2 nitrogen containers. What is the container on the left?
So what is the container on the left? What purpose it is? The first one to answer right gonna win
a hat.
A hat. Okay, let's do it. We get him a hat. So Vivi was actually saying like, oh yeah, just gonna bench easily and just take it easy. Like most of the guys are not today that are competing, but they take it the more relaxed way because the time limit is wider. Oh, I think we have the winner.
Obscure Paradox.
Obscure Paradox.
You are correct. That is a RAM pot.
And it's to cool down the memory thing.
Yeah, that allows you to take memory chips and freeze them down to be sub-zero.
So Obscure Paradox will just send you a PM to add some of your details to send you the cap. Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations. So he looks like BB's running the Z97, which is probably the board he got for the competition yesterday. And he's probably running some PiFast and SuperPi. Those are the 2 benchmarks that benefit from RAM being in the sub-zero range.
How much percentage increase you can get between having the RAM as regular cool, like air cooling, and under LN2? What is the big difference?
Well, the big difference there is that when you freeze the chips, they start to become more efficient. And if you have a really good IMC on your CPU, then you can push the memory to run from like 2133 all the way up to 3000, 3200 megahertz, which is a considerable overclock. But the timings, normally to get memory to run faster, you have to loosen the timings if you want to increase the frequency. With this, you're able to keep the timings about the same, and then just increase the frequency, put a little bit more voltage in there, and away you go.
Sweet. So who do we have next? Let's switch to. We might have the feedback from Thirsty. Thirsty was benching some more card yesterday. He's actually still benching the Earn 290 series because yesterday was benching 4 cards. He was expecting to just remove 1, continue benching on 3 cards, but he ran out of time, so he had to stop everything and start again this morning. So I don't think he was quite happy with that yesterday.
No, he was. The process for taking down a multi-GPU system after it's been sub-zero for a few hours is not easy. Very time-consuming. Basically, you have to heat up the pots. And actually, we have them on screen right now. You're heating up the pots to get them warm enough so that they won't stick in the PCI Express slot, because you get a little ice in there and it will pull the slot off the motherboard a lot of times. Not fun. And then once you heat them up at that point, then you have all this condensation you have to wick away, so use a lot of paper towels.
Condensation is our worst enemy.
Yeah, it is. And it's not necessarily the water per se, but the particles that are in the water that happen to freeze on your system.
We can have your consummate Steponzi on cam.
Awesome.
Steponzi. So
We need to probably move the camera just slightly, but looks like he is testing. Looks like he's testing the setup.
So maybe it's just, oh yeah, that's the thing. The small device he's using is actually a control, a remote control for a special, I'm gonna say that, a special card that you can have better power delivery with it.
Right. It's an external VRM that's been modded to the CPU so that he can provide more voltage to the uncore and be able to overclock the memory.
Why do we use that? It's just because sometimes the graphic cards, they're not designed to sustain the complete loads, or we have to make some slight modifications. So it's just easier to just use an extra power delivery than just modifying the one that's on the card.
Yeah. Well, in the case of the CPU, because this is a CPU modification, the new socket, the 2011 version 3, has the same basic pinout as the previous 2011. This is good, thanks. We were just telling Zyla about how he moved the camera in the proper location for us. So with the socket, it's in the same configuration as the old 2011, but if you flip over a 5960X, there's considerably more pins there, about 24 or 48 more, and those pins are mostly for voltage, and they control different aspects of the CPU. Most of the sockets that you get, the version 3 sockets, don't have those populated.
Okay, so we have connection on the CPU, but we don't have the connection on the main board.
Right. So what Steponzi has done is he's modified a thin little wire to connect directly to the CPU so that he can provide voltage to the uncore, which is not available to be modified in the new 5960X and other Haswell E processors. So that external controller is just to add a slight amount of voltage to that so that you can increase the uncore, which is the memory controller and the mostly the memory controller, but also the voltage between the cores. He's going to do some massive memory overclocking as a result, and should be able to basically mop up any sort of 3D benchmark that has any CPU dependency at all.
That's interesting to see. We are back to CPU modification.
Yeah.
The last CPU modification I even made myself was the AMD Athlon XP. What I think was a 1700 plus one. So
yeah,
there was
like
the GIUHB, the special batches that the name was looking at.
Well, there was a Thunderbird and anything after Thunderbird. And I'm going to forget the number or the code names, but if you put the CPU on, well, you had NVIDIA and AMD chipsets at the time, but you could drop a small wire in the socket and basically unlock the multiplier on any AMD CPU.
Oh yeah, the wire mod. I remember that one. You have to have the pins touching each other.
Yeah.
Or just put the wire in there.
You put the wire in there, you install the CPU, and you can adjust the multipliers. NVIDIA started programming that into their CPU, so you could, on the Enforce chipset, you could just change it. It didn't really matter. It's a lot easier than trying to fill up the traces that they laser cut on the top of the CPU. I think we have a screen capture over on Steponzi's side as well, don't we?
The screen capture is actually on the 8-back systems. They're going to run the 4-way, so we can actually display the 4-way systems.
So that moved.
Yeah. Cool. We might have a capture card on Vivi, but Vivi is actually having some issues. So we'll see later on if we can get some more pictures from the guys.
Yeah.
So who else can we add today on the stream? So Vivi is still benching. So Vivi is still benching, as you can see. Steponzi is taking it easy. Looks like Toasty is modifying some of the car.
Yeah, let's pull up that one really quick. We have Toasley. He looks like he's taken off a. Oh, he's adjusting his thermal couple, it looks like. Yep. He probably had a broken wire in the thermal couple. So he made a quick little repair there, trying to get it to work again. Temperature is very, very important to overclocker. A CPU too cold, otherwise it may run slow or not work at all. And of course, if it's too hot, then you can't get the targeted clocks that you're after.
As you can see, it's like finishing preparing the card to put that on the systems and boot it.
It's probably going to take some paper towels and wrap around there as well.
It's actually, I like the way that some of the overclockers are just caring about getting the things work, and some are caring about getting the things work in a proper fashion. Some of them just insulate the complete board, some of them just put Vaseline everywhere. And even yesterday when we finished the convention, the first day, some of the overclockers were having just a huge mess on the setup, and some of them just clean, everything was back in the box and so on. Actually, usually the Asian guys put everything back in the box, while I would say the US guy, but the Westerners usually just left everything as is and just start again the next morning.
Yep. It appears Truthman has a little bit of a cough today.
So don't forget, guys, we have a giveaway right now going on our Facebook page, facebook.com/OverClocking-TV, and you can win a few hardware like this. You can win a few of this hardware. There's a few questions. One of the giveaway ended up yesterday evening. We have a second giveaway that is you have to tell the name of at least 3 partners of the event. And the third giveaway is who is the winner of the classic battle from yesterday. So if you watched us yesterday, you actually know exactly who won the competition yesterday. If you watch closely or look on OverClocking-TV.com or otherwise Xylem, where you have some news about that, you can find out the list of the partners that are here.
I believe you can also find it if you look for hashtag MSI MOA.
If you look on Twitter, hashtag MSI MOA, you might find them also.
Yeah, you might find them as well.
Well, maybe. If you look on Google, you might find them too.
Yeah, that's true. Just some quick searches. So.
So, Dennis, we have something today. Every time someone's gonna post the scores, we have like a scoreboard and we can see the screenshot. How can the guys go see that scoreboard? You can go on HWBot.
I go on hwbot.org, but I got yelled at yesterday saying I need to actually send people to oc-esports.io, and then find the No Limits Battle competition, and you'll be able to find the scoreboard there.
Seems that we can have the feedback from Vivi. So Vivi from South Africa is actually benching hard on this system. We can show first full screen to see what's going on there. So that is Vivi's computer. Is using the Z97 M Power mainboard. I really like the way it designed its own installation with the M sign as well as its nickname on it.
Yeah, it. On my podcast, Darren and I were joking about how the M looked like the Metro 2031 or 2033 logo.
I think they did a good thing as branding, rebranding the complete hardware lines. They have the OC series that is black and yellow, and they have the gaming series that is like red and black.
Yeah,
and that's actually like standing out because you know exactly that. Yellow and black, you know that's the OC series. Like black and red, you know that's the gaming series.
Well, black and red has been a very common color combination. for gaming cards and whatnot. So it's and the classic colors were blue and black, which have kind of been muted because they're the more of the mainstream components. But black and red, yellow and red, or yellow and black will be they'll be around for a while, I believe.
So still on the Vivi's computer, he's changing some of the settings in the BIOS. That's the...
So he's using PSC 2666 memory on his board.
1. Okay, I thought that was 1.88, but no, that's 1.813.
All right. I have to apologize for the loud cough. Seems that VV's system didn't boot, so he's going to change some of the voltages around. The challenge here is making sure that the voltages and the frequency match that sine curve that it needs to have to run properly.
I'm just coming back from VV's spot. He told me I'm trying to bench for pi fast. So that's the one of the legacy benchmarks.
There's not many people that bench in pi fast these days.
Well, it doesn't have a good interface. It's not fun to watch.
No. Well, it's very fast.
So we will just take a quick break and come back right after with some more fun and details and overclocking and all the information. So stay right back, and we're coming in a few minutes. And we are back here at the MSI Master Overclocking Arena in live from Taipei, Taiwan, on the other side of Earth if you live in the US. Right now we can see our friend Vivi from South Africa is changing some of the setting in the BIOS, and as we say a few seconds ago, right before the break, we actually went to see him and he said, oh yeah, I'm gonna trying to bench pi fast. What is he doing now is trying to maintain his CPU under around like minus 120 degrees, while he's keeping the memory cold at around minus 80 degrees. Why they're doing that is to gain more performances. The more you overclock, the higher the temperature is, and you have to cool that down as much as you can. So sometimes the screen goes black. It's either because it's rebooting the systems, or it crashed, or you have some issues. Usually the main issue we have is condensation issues. As we're using liquid nitrogen that is almost minus 200 degrees, it's sometimes there's a need to make sure that we insulate the systems as we should. One of the all of the guys here did qualify online during the Master Overclocking Arena qualifiers, and they went on to make sure that they had to qualify for Class A and Class B. All the guys here, they come from 15 different countries. There's 18 people, and they are all competing for $16,000 in total cash prize. Yesterday we had the classic battle. The classic battle is something more of a regular session. Like you had 2 hours to bench on each benchmark. You had 3 benchmarks: SuperPi 32M, Sine Event R15, and 3D Mark Fire Strike. After this 3 rounds, they gain some points, and out of these points, the person that have the best point actually win something. So we had 4 people winning cash prize yesterday evening. We had the Vivid is actually on screen that won the classic battle yesterday, and he was coming back home with I think it was $4,000. Then the second person was Tolsti. He was actually the winner from last year, and he won $2,000. While the third person was OC Winforce. That's someone that is always around for the MSI MOA. For past 4 years, he did end up in the top 5. And he won $1,500, while the Moose83 from Germany, that's his first competition live, won $1,000 yesterday evening. So my co-host is now back. He just went to see what's going on with some of the overclockers.
Yep.
So Denis from Hardware Asylum, how are you doing?
I'm doing
good.
Well.
How is your countryman doing?
He is suspension 3-way. So he's got the R9 280s, not the X's. I thought they were X's. But 280, so we're limited by 3-way crossfire with that system. And he's going to make a sweep through all of the 3D benchmarks.
So maybe he's still modifying some stuff in the BIOS. We're going to come back to that later on. So we can actually have a look at Stepanzi's screens.
So he tells me that he was the only one able to get 3-way working with this particular card configuration. So now he's just start with 3D Mark Vantage, which has a lot of CPU-dependent sections in it. There's 2 sections that are really strong on the CPU. And he made it, let's see, he's running 5 gigahertz on the CPU and 4.5 gigahertz on the Encore, so there's going to be considerable memory bandwidth in there. And right now he had a little trouble with the final stage of 3D Mark Vantage, which is a physics test. And it hung, so he's making 2 tweaks and he's going to try it again.
So we'll be able to see his screen. So he's actually modifying, making sure that the CPU can run as fast as he wants.
Yeah. Well, he claims that this is his ES chip, which is also allowed by the competition, so he doesn't want to push it too hard because it's a fairly decent chip and he wants to keep it for a while. And with these 3D benchmarks, you don't need a lot of CPU power, so he's going to be pushing the video cards as much as he can. Let's see.
You can see the screen.
Yep. Looks like he's trying to do something. I'm not sure yet.
It's modifying some of the settings although on these little devices.
Yeah. Oh, actually, it's probably dead, and this was the last thing that was on screen.
That's the funny part. When people are overclocking, they're usually spending time tweaking the system as much as they can to go as fast as they can. But you have to think about that. Before breaking a record or getting the best score you can have, you spend a lot of time making sure that everything can boot and work, because you always run into issues. Sometimes the driver, sometimes the hardware, sometimes the way you mount it. So you always have to be careful for that.
Yeah, you find that when you're doing 3D benchmarks, you find that golden CPU configuration that gives you the best CPU performance and allows you to complete every benchmark. That allows you to concentrate on setting video card clocks and making it through all the benchmarks. Versus the Ponzi, he's going to be running 8 of them on 3-way. So he's going to make a sweep with all 3 cards installed, and then he'll pull a card and do it all again.
So as you see, there's a lot of smoke going on. That smoke is coming from OC Winforce that is actually right in front of Stepanzi. I think that OC Winforce is benching CPU pots, some CPU benchmark, because he didn't mount the VGA yet.
Right.
He actually wants to keep that for later today. I don't know what his strategy is, but he's someone that is very strong at 2D benchmark.
Right. Going with what he's comfortable with, and then going to move on to the other ones as needed. Yeah. So we'll watch the Ponzi here pour a little bit, and then we'll switch back to his screen here shortly. Truthman has a bit of a cough, so when he gets into a fit, he has to leave the camera, unfortunately. Okay. Nice. All right, Truthman's back. He gave me something.
But what do you have? Ah, I think we can show that.
Yeah, I think we can
more
show
on the
it.
live.
We have
A t-shirt.
MSI OC t-shirt.
So, do you guys want to win this? Do you guys want to win this? Oh,
Yeah.
the t-shirt and the cap. Okay, let's do
Together
this.
or separate?
Oh no, separate. So,
Separate.
okay, first question will be, you have to answer on the Twitch chat. The first question will be, who is the second person to win the classic battle from yesterday? Who is in the second spot
Who
of
came
the
in
classic battle?
Who came
from
in number
yesterday?
2?
We want the nickname with no typo on it. So you get the t-shirt. And for that, well, let's say the third one.
Yeah, third person to write the correct answer in Twitch chat.
The third person to write the right answer, gonna win it.
You're gonna win. All right. So, what about the cap?
Well, it's a no cap.
Yeah. So should we do maybe third place?
Yeah, third place.
Yeah, third place. All right. So person that got third place in the classic battle yesterday will win not this particular cap, but a cap that looks just like it. So the third person to write the correct answer correctly in the Twitch chat will win.
Let's go. So we have our judge in the back. Our producer is actually taking who's gonna win. You have to make sure you don't make any typo. We want the real name. If there's some numbers, if there's some stuff like this, you have to put it in the right way to do it.
Right there.
Just gonna wait for our judge to justify who won one of these. Well, we can go back to Stefanzi. Maybe we're gonna have the screen from now. So yeah, we have the screen. He's actually benching, making a few changes to the systems. So it seems like Stepanzi on the video now is having some issues running Godzilla. As we said yesterday, sometimes Godzilla is a bit tricky. You have to adjust and make sure that the benchmark can run. It's consistent in the sports system, but not in the way it runs. So sometimes it runs, sometimes it doesn't.
That happens with new benchmarks, actually. They take a little while to get sorted out. All right, here we go. We have Godzilla running. Looks like we're only showing the upper left quadrant, but we'll be able to see the benchmark run.
Gonna fix that small issue. So Godzilla is a benchmark mainly for 3D.
Yes.
Because you're rendering like a game systems. Oh, kitty kitty! So the story is about a cat going in a city and destroying everything. It's a mad cat, I would say.
Bad cat.
Oh, mad cats. Oh no, one of the sponsors of this event is Steel Series, so we can't say mad cats.
Well, I said bad. You thought I said bad. So, here the cat is trying to be sought by the army.
So how the benchmark works is you have FPS on the top and you have frames. The way overclockers knows if they're going faster or not is not looking at the FPS. They just look at the number of frames at a certain time in the benchmark, and then they know if they got more, that means they go faster and they can continue the benchmark to have a better score at the end.
Yeah. Everybody has a different way of looking at it. And there's usually indicators in the benchmark as it's running. So if you know if it hits a certain number at a certain point, you know to continue the benchmark or just let it slide. Since Steponzi...
since he crashed. Oh no, he crashed! Steponzi crashed the benchmark! Oh, that's way too bad. So maybe he's not stable enough for the CPU or the VGA. I think that's the VGA.
Yeah, it's the VGA issue. So he has a slight overclock on the VGA cards, as we can see right here. Gonna ramp up the fan speed to keep him cooler. We'll probably start it again. And since he's going to try to get through all of the benchmarks today with this configuration, he's got to manage his time so that he can finish before the end of it. So he can't spend too much time tweaking the overclock settings, so he'll probably find something stable for all three of the cards that is slightly better than stock. And then run through all of them, pull a card, save the same clocks, run again, and rinse and repeat as they were.
Each sleep clock repeats. Each sleep clock repeats.
Yeah. So in the background, we have two other Americans. We have Gunslinger, followed by Mike CDM. Mike CDM did really well in the Classic battle yesterday. He had a good Fire Strike score, a good Super Prize score, but the fact that he failed at Cinebench didn't give him enough points to be competitive.
But that's the thing when you have only 3 benchmarks in classic competitions. If you fail big time in one, fail is not the thing. If you don't perform enough in one, you're gonna have some drawback after because you are so behind in terms of points that you have to really put some extremely good scores. But he destroyed everyone yesterday at the last stage on 3D Mark Fire Strike. Right. He went so far behind that no one could catch him from the end.
Yep. So there's a competition for for second place. All right, Catzilla. Ooh, the proper resolution this time.
So Catzilla is loading. You can see the wheels going on. It's a cat team benchmark.
I will let
in a deserted city. We're gonna get some information from the guys.
Yep.
Thanks.
So here's the commentary of the Catzilla benchmark. Since Steponzi crashed, that's way too bad.
Oh yeah, he had an issue that maybe the benchmark hang. Sometimes that happens. You run the benchmark and it doesn't go through. It just got stuck. The main issue is either the VGA is not stable enough because you overclock too much, or the CPU is not stable enough. That's actually funny that he's using an Asus tool because that's the MSI competition right now. It just wants to make sure that the settings are applying. The way let's say the software like MSI Afterburner and so on, they can be used on any card. You don't have to be you don't really need to have especially the same card as the brand is making the software. So he's back again for Catzilla. Can he make it this time? So the benchmark is running. You have this. Oh, and no, it crashed again. Oh, that's way too bad for Steponzi. He cannot make it. That's 2 times in a row. His GPU clock are 972 megahertz, where the memory is like 2500 megahertz. So that's like 5 gigahertz for DDR memory, DDR frequency. So he's really trying to make it happen, to make it go through. Start again. Sometimes we have some issues on the systems, because if you try too hard making the things work, sometimes you crash the system completely when it's not stable enough. Don't hesitate, guys. If you have any question, just ask us on the chat. We are here all day. We're gonna be that's gonna be all night for most of the guys that are living in America. We have a few questions from James 319. Is there a way to buy the t-shirt somewhere? The answer is no. That's limited edition t-shirt for this competition so far as I know. But if you stay on the stream, we're gonna do some giveaway all along the day. So if you want one, if you want either an MSI t-shirt or an MSI cap, you have to stay here and answer right the question that we're gonna say and ask you maybe once every hour or stuff like this. So you have to stay around and be sure to participate in what we have and be quick. Although all the guys here are using liquid nitrogen, this is fun to watch, but that's something you need to be careful when you're using. You just need to be sure that you know the security concerns. You cannot use that. You cannot even buy that just for yourself. Well,
I'm back.
Dennis from Hardware Asylum is back.
Yep.
So, what information did you get from the overclockers?
Well, Stepan Z, I went over there and talked to him. You probably saw me. I checked to make sure that he disabled tessellation because that's something that always gets me when I'm benchmarking. Now he's asking him about port clocks. Turns out that he's running these at stock. It's just that he doesn't get enough airflow through there to keep him cool. So that's what he's battling right now. So he gets the benchmark starts, car gets too hot, and then it starts to crash.
I think the live from yesterday we had the classic battle and the early beginning of the No-Limit battle commentary along with Dennis from Hardware Asylum and myself, Turfman from OverClocking-TV, and we did the live for 12 hours non-stop. That was actually a fun live.
It was fun, yes. Unfortunately, when you're talking for that long, it tends to destroy the voice.
Especially with all the weather and the air conditioning here, because it's quite hot and humid outside, and once you get in, it's like dry and cold. It's like so, guys watching on Twitch on the chat, let us know where you come from, what time zone you are in. Here we have Dennis, that is from the west side of the US, while I am French, but I live in the east side of Canada. We have some people here that come from Europe, as well as some coming from Asia. We have 15 different countries represented. It's fun to see everyone gather at the same place and try to beat the scores.
So these were all the top overclockers from the qualifiers that were divided into 3 different regions, correct?
Yep.
We had North America, which is the first one, the one that I competed in, followed by EMA, right?
Yep.
And then
we had America, Europe, Asia.
Yeah, followed by APAC. So. Here we see Stefansi going into the AMG overdrive system to try and readjust the power targets, I'm assuming. And he's going to limit this to just, looks like the first stage of 3D Mark 11.
Well, I think he gave out on Godzilla. He said, no more.
Oh yeah, I think he did. It's a very stressful benchmark. It doesn't run very well. When it does, sometimes you don't get the score you're after. Alright, so we had a question in chat. Do you guys have a favorite CPU?
Question from Master Brad.
Master Brad.
Master Brad.
Let's see. My favorite CPU as of late, you know, believe it or not, I have a soft spot for the 980 Gulf Town. That's the 6-core one that came out for the 1366 socket.
Why did you like this one so much?
That was the first CPU that I was able to overclock with liquid nitrogen in excess of 6 gigahertz.
Interesting.
So I kind of have a soft spot for that. I like it.
Yeah. Well, on my side, I will maybe not be friends with a lot of guys saying that, but I do like the AMD CPUs because it's easy to overclock. It's really easy. I mean, the latest Intel one are easy too, but you have to control the temperature.
Yep. But
AMD just fill all the LN2 you have and just let it run and go like minus 180 or something like this, and you just can just play.
Well, the
performance are not there, but still it's good.
Well, it makes it fun because AMD CPUs have no cold bump. whereas
Yep.
Intel ones do. The no pull bug is something that they did a couple of videos around CES 4 years ago, I believe. And
When they launched the first the bulldozer one, I think. They were
Bulldozer,
overclocking
yeah.
with liquid helium.
Yep, liquid helium. So you bring the temperature down with liquid nitrogen until it just starts to boil in the container. That's what they call full pot. And it kind of looks like you're making noodles, but extremely cold. And then at that point, they can pour in the liquid helium, and that has to be run on a tap because you can't pour it out of a flask. So there's a tube going in there, and then they just pour it on until it comes out got enough to bring the temperature down.
So it seems like Stepanzi is back at trying to make it work with Godzilla. So the Godzilla benchmark, you have, I like the way that you don't bench for weird resolution. You always bench for like 560p, 720p, 1080p. I think it's like 1440p. So it's actually like defined resolution that you can rely on or fall back to the thing. So the benchmark is running. On the top, you can see the frames and the FPS. And it crashed again. That's so bad. That's the second time in a row he's not making it through the benchmark. Always at first, boom, boom, crash, boom, crash. So he's trying to find the sweet spots. Now the driver is giving up on him.
Yep. Let's kick back over to BB, see what he's doing.
So where is Vivi? Vivi is from South Africa. Vivi is actually unmounting the complete system, yeah.
Oh wow.
He's remounting the things. Maybe he just he gave up on Pi Fast. He was trying to go for a CPU benchmark, but as we can see now, it's just remounting the complete systems.
Oh, this is a different motherboard.
That's a different one from yesterday. That's the same one as we had earlier today on the stream.
All right. Yeah, the one yesterday was covered in red electrical tape. Well, liquid electrical tape. This board looks to be treated with Vaseline and also set up for memory overclocking. You can tell by the blue pieces of paper towel shoved in the memory socket. And of course, the VRM cooler was removed for the application of the Vaseline. You'll probably put it back on there before you start benching.
Interesting thing is Vivi exchanged his mainboard with his friend in front of him, Wizarding from France.
Yeah.
So they are exchanging hardware to make sure that I think actually that Vivi sold the mainboard to Wizarding. Like, oh, you did great. I want the same one. Okay, let's go for it.
It's possible. All right, so we have Stepanzi back up here. He's still trying to get the system running.
It's always difficult for the overclockers to find a way to make all the systems working, especially in this kind of environment. There's a lot of compensation issues.
Well, and Stepanzi started at the high end with the three-way. He could have started with single card and then went up to three-way. But I believe he's kind of after the big scores first, and then at that point, everything should be stable, and he knows that the single and dual cards will work just fine. Now we're looking down on Toastly, Bob MZ, who's on the left, Sniper Oz, who is above him, and to the right is the Zolio in the upper right-hand corner.
So don't forget, guys, you can follow us here on Twitch as well as on Facebook, facebook.com/overclocking-TV, or you can also follow our Asylum on Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook. We also have a Twitter that I don't update very often, but I've been trying to do that.
And although, guys, don't forget we have a giveaway. We have 2 giveaways running on our Facebook page. You can go there on the page. Go to facebook.com/overclocking-TV. You click to the MOA final giveaway. You have the number 2 and the number 3, and you answer the question. The first question for the giveaway number 2 is you have to give the names of 3 partners of the event. While on the third giveaway that we have, you just have to tell who is the winner from the classic battle from yesterday. That's very difficult.
I think we even said who that was a couple times.
So let's go back to some of the people that we have here. So that's Gunslinger setup.
I believe so.
Yep. He's now benching only one card. He used to bench the 2 card.
Yep. He finished his 2-way runs, I believe, and now he's just doing singles. I really like these frost shots, you know, where you can see all the frost just kind of bellowing off of the containers as the poured liquid nitrogen in there. Unfortunately, in Taiwan, the humidity is so high that it doesn't take much to break frost on stuff. Around June and during Computex when I'm here, you'll get a soda at the local 7-Eleven or Family Mart. Bring it outside and all of a sudden it's sweating water. But that's what subtropicals will do you. So just in case you didn't know, the stuff that the overclockers are pouring onto the copper containers is liquid nitrogen. And the white vapor that's coming off of there is basically nitrogen being converted back. And since it's still below 0, it is pulling in some of the oxygen out of the air and making water vapor.
So we can switch to Tolstoy. We have the screen from Tolstoy is benching Unigine Heaven. So that's a benchmark we haven't presented yet. So what is Unigine Heaven?
Unigine Heaven is a very fun benchmark. DirectX 11 based, but you can do a DirectX 9 version as well. It's compiled of 26 or 28 stages, and a stage is basically a scene. Right now we see ourselves going through a cannon port into the ship. So each one of these has a different load on the GPU, so most of them are about the same, but there's some that are actually really stressful. Like toward the end there will be a dragon that we'll see in the middle of the city and it'll come around. That's
actually a theme that is coming back all the time in the benchmark. We always have troll or dragon or flying boat.
Yeah, well they're an easy, how you say, obscure something they can put into a benchmark and doesn't have any reference to the real world. So the challenge with Unigine Heaven is that it's extremely long. The times that I've run this with the R290X, I would have 3 flasks filled up, and if I'm tending a CPU pod and a GPU pod, I'll go through those 3 flasks of LM2 before it finishes. And as we see, the Heaven benchmark has crashed for Tolstoy right at the dragon.
Oh, that's way too bad. Yeah. He's actually a very skilled overclocker. He finished second yesterday in the classic battle. Yep. And he's like someone very dedicated to it. He's not someone that speaks a lot with the others, but he always has the right answer when you ask him. He's always willing to say, like, you ask him, how did you do that? He's going to explain you how he did it. And you can actually use it. So Unigine Heaven, there's 2 presets you can learn. You have the DX9 and DX11. Right. The difference is just in the workload.
Well, it's in the workload and also what renderer it uses. With DirectX 11, it uses a lot of tessellation. So right now we're walking down a path. If the tessellation was on, these rocks would actually look like really big rocks on the road. The DirectX 9, they look flat. Now with DirectX 11, which is what Tolstoy's running, you can disable tessellation in the AMD driver, which allows the benchmark to run faster and it flattens out all the textures.
Although if you see the benchmark, you think it's lagging. The benchmark is not lagging. That's the thing. It's not the same workload as a game. A game, it's different workload over time, but it's never completely using the graphic card. It's using the graphic card a lot. But the benchmark is a very strong workload because we have to make sure that we send as much raw data and calculation to the card to test it as much as we can.
Well, the benchmarks are designed to stress the hardware. And in some cases, when the benchmark was released, like in the case of 3D Marco 3 and 3D Marco 5, it was released for the hardware that was available at the time. And those were, your Pentium 4 CPUs and AGP. Well, now that we're on Sandy Bridge, Ivy Bridge, Haswell, with PCI Express, the workloads have changed. So we have bi-directional communication between the CPU and the video card. Whereas before with AGP, it was one direction. Looks like he's making it past the Dragon stage, which is good. And at this stage, he is not even halfway through. So we'll, in the upper right-hand corner, you'll watch closely tending the box, which keeps the temperature at the target range where he needs him to be. At this stage in the benchmark, it's not very stressful, so he doesn't need to pour as much LN2.
That's the thing, when the benchmark is stressful, you calculate more, so you eat more, so you have to cool down even more.
Right. Well, and you also have to realize when that's going to happen so that you can pre-cool the system, because there's always going to be a load on it. When the load increases, if you can't compensate for that by pouring, you need to pre-compensate, so to speak.
And that's also one thing. We cool down with liquid nitrogen, but it's not like instant. It's never instant. You just have a slight delay between the time you're putting LN2 in the CPU or GPU pod and the time it's actually cooling down the system itself. Right. There's a lot of variable in this. That's also the reason why we cannot use LN2 for a daily rig or an automatic system. It's something very difficult to do. Right. Close to almost impossible.
Yeah, special purpose cooling. Although I have played around the Borderlands 2 on an LN2 cooled system. It was an overclock more than 5 gigahertz, but I had the CPU pod on there, I had the actual tended. Played a good round.
So all the benchmark have different resolution, as we saw earlier today on Godzilla. Godzilla was 720p.
Yep.
You have a different bezel. This benchmark is 1080p if I'm right.
Yes.
You have 3D Mark Fire Strike that is 1080p although, but the 3D Mark Fire Strike Extreme is 2440p. Yep. And they just released that was last week. No, earlier this week, on Monday.
No, it was last week.
Last week?
Yep.
Okay, so that was last week.
But it's the Fire Strike Ultra preset.
Fire Strike Ultra, so it's a 4K benchmark. And that's funny because over time we
this
just
is
he
unfortunate.
crashed again. That's so sad.
And this is like 2 stages away from the end.
Oh no, no,
it's
that
back.
was just it
just hit.
Maybe that was just a network issue.
Well, if the benchmark hits, which is where it kind of stops and lags for a bit, that will adversely affect your score at the very end. So he could run this again at the exact same clocks and probably get a much higher score.
So what scores is he getting? Everyone is getting food, so you can see in the back people are eating.
Yep. And we should probably mute the microphone while we do the same.
So we'll take a slight break. Stay tuned because we have some more giveaways to give to you guys, and you will maybe be a winner of one of our next giveaway.
Yeah, we can we'll come back and give away a shirt. How's that?
Yeah, let's do it. We take a break, we eat, and we come back. We're gonna give away a shirt. I like this idea. Welcome back everyone to the MSI MOA 2014 editions. We had a slight issue with the sound, but now it's sorted. We are here in the No Limit panel and we're about to do a giveaway. And the giveaway, we're gonna give away what? This t-shirt, actually the same one that Roman is wearing. Roman, can you see? Like this t-shirt? Yeah. Only the t-shirt and the cap. So if you answer the next question correctly, you can win the t-shirt and the cap. Yep. The question is...
They are so dumb.
The question is, what is the name of this motherboard? So the third person to answer right on the live chat gonna win the t-shirt and the cap at once. We have our judge Timothy in the back that is monitoring the chat to let us know who's gonna win. So, Roman, you're the judge for the Master OverClocking Arena for this year. And what are you like? Is there a lot of job to do as a judge here? Or?
Well, it just took me 35 minutes to finish my burger. So I could do one bite and I had to run around for 5 minutes, and I could do another bite.
Because every time the guys finish the benchmark, they have to submit the scores to you for you to verify that everything is fine. Oh, we had a lot of answer for the for the name. We want the exact name that you can find. Well, and who do you think have the best opportunity to win the No Limit battle today?
Wizardy for sure.
Wizardy? Because he is bending the rules as much as he can, or
no? Just because he's getting as much records as possible. He just checked which CPUs have no records so far, so he's setting them all.
So it's like, check online to see if a CPU was used or not, and he basically just bought everyone that was not in the ranking database. Yeah. That's a clever way. And actually, all these CPUs are very cheap ones.
Yeah, it's like 40, 50, 60 euros stuff. Maybe even cheaper.
Wow! That's a
Euros.
Huh?
Euros.
Yeah, okay.
Euros. No, we're not talking about dollar.
It's all about euros.
What do you think about like Toasty running the 290X three-way?
Well, it's a badass setup.
Yeah, it's quite crazy, huh?
Well, he can get a lot of points as well. You can run all the 4 cards, 3 cards, 2 cards, 1 card. You probably get the record, so yeah. Well, I mean, he still has a chance to win some money, right? Even if he's not first, he still gets the money. Yeah.
So right now we're watching 3D Mark Vantage on Toastly's system. This is the second stage, the space stage, I should say.
Space stage.
The challenge of Vantage is that it's kind of a full system benchmark, so not only do you need to overclock the video card, but you also need to have a stable overclock on the CPU. And it's quite long for a 3D Mark benchmark. So we'll just sit back and watch this one for a little bit. Maybe we'll see a crash.
Well, we'll see you soon, guys. So just
take care.
Do my job.
Thanks.
We might actually be able to see how fast he's running when he does his screenshot at the very end. My guess is probably around 5.7 gigahertz.
Seems like we have our winner from the giveaway.
Oh, we do?
Yep.
Do we want to make an announcement?
We will announce it on the chat, and here. The right answer was the main board we had was the MSI Z97X Power AC. That's the latest one you can buy from this, and that was actually the main board we had in our end. So we're gonna announce who is the winner here, and then we're gonna send it to you on the chat. The answer, the right guy is Kripa Gaming. So you're gonna check your PM, gonna put on a private message, and you will be able to see that in your mailbox in the near future.
Yeah. Here's the CPU portion of 3D Mark Vantage. This is basically checking calculations. Very little of the GPU is being used in this stage.
Because all the graphics you see are calculated on the CPU, but just displayed after. Right. This one is usually hard on the CPU. Mm-hmm. It's like the mountain one when you have all the little things going on. That should be sponsored by Red Bull.
It should be.
But well, it's a pretty old benchmark. So.
Yeah, it is. The interesting thing about this particular benchmark is it was the first 3D Mark benchmark that included NVIDIA physics. And when you submit this benchmark to HardwareBot for ranking, you have to disable the PhysX.
So let's move back to Vivi. Vivi is still tuning the system. It didn't even fix the CPU pod as we should. As you can see on the top right and the screen, there's no screw on his cooling system.
Oh, he's just rested.
It's just trying to make things work as much as it can. If we check, he's actually using a CPU, the G3220. Interesting. So you have a very low-end CPU, just making sure you can get a good scores with that. So it's just doing a few tweaks in the main board to tune in the memory to just be sure that you can get the best scores. We're back at Stepan. Stepan is still benching, he's getting some scores. So Stepan is about to submit a score. Every time they want to submit a score, they need to call in the judge to verify that they have the right settings and everything is well applied to that.
Yes, since this is hardware that they brought to the competition, it's also to guard against them pre-running a benchmark and submitting the score that they ran before.
So what we have is the validation system is not automatic. You have to take a screenshot, call the judge verify that it's genuine, and then you send that to the HWBot team that is updating all the, taking care of the ranking.
Yep.
So we actually have the judge making sure that the system was run here and today, and when they end up to go to the leaderboard systems, there's another check. If there's like off scale of the points, there's some cheating involved and so on, they do check that after. Right.
Can we bring up a camera of the overall? There we go. So the MSI MOA Master Overclocking Arena 2014 Worldwide Final. It's a competition, correct?
Yep, it's a competition during 2 days here in Taipei, Taiwan.
Yep. So what? Just to explain to our new viewers, we had 2 battles. We had a classic battle yesterday that was comprised of 3 benchmarks, and we had 3 winners of that. One of them is the name is tied to your giveaway that you have on Facebook. Yep. But for the top 4 winners in the classic battle, what did they win?
They win a cash prize and a complete system. So the system they were using yesterday, they can get back home with, and they won some cash prize. I think that was $4,000 for the first one,
$3,000.
$3,000 for the first, $2,000 for the second one, $1,500 for the third, and $1,000 for the fourth one.
Fourth place.
That was a very tight battle.
It was.
3 benchmark, 2 hours each. One legacy, so a very old benchmark. One 2D, so only based on the computing power of the CPU. And the last one was the graphic benchmark.
Right. And today we have the No Limits battle, which allows the overclockers to bring hardware from home and bench for points. We have prizes awarded to the top 3 of the No Limits. Is that correct?
Yep. Seems like it. And although they have 15 different benchmarks they can run, so in each of these benchmarks they gain some points, and then they can like the overall point gonna make them win.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and correct myself. The No Limits battle awards cash prizes for the top 5. So first place gets $2,500 US, second place $2,000 US, third place $1,500, fourth $1,000, and fifth place gets $500 US.
Well, that's still interesting to win even in the 5th place, because there's only 18 people competing here today.
Yeah, so it's a really good chance that somebody's going to walk away with something.
You have at least a 25% chance to win something, just for the No Limits battle.
Yeah, just for showing up.
So right on stage on the camera we have on the right Roman with his diet soda. We have Toasty at the bottom, although it's trying to submit scores. On the other side, we have Bob NZ from Australia. He's actually benching Catzilla. We can see it from where we are staying. Benching and benching and benching. All of the others, we have Perica Bari from Montenegro. He's benching SuperPi 32M. He told me earlier this morning that he will do only 2D benchmark. He will not do anything else because he didn't bring any special VGA, and he doesn't want to fight on 3D because it's too. He says it's too much of involvement into it.
Right. There's a lot involved with benching 3D. As we've seen from Toasty, he's doing 4-way 290Xs, so he's got at least 5 benchmarks, up to 8 benchmarks, that he has to run 4 different times. There's a lot to manage, and a lot, since he only has less than, what is it, 3 hours now? 3.5 hours left. That's a lot of work to accomplish in that amount of time.
Hey Dennis.
Hey.
So overall, what do you think about this event?
This event is quite challenging. I really like it. Not sure if I can say anything more about it.
It's fun. I really like the way that we have 15 different countries here. There's 18 people, and they all get along together. There's always some drama, but it's never a big deal. Like all the guys like to do the same thing. Other guys like to overclock the computers, get the latest hardware, the biggest one, and they want to push it as fast as they can. It's a competition, but we can see that sometimes they exchange information with each other, like tweaks, or oh no, this memory stick you need to change these few settings to make it work even better, or oh no, that CPU I had the same one, I had the same batch, so the same production date. Or say, oh no, this one is not good, so don't spend time on it. It's not gonna go higher than that.
Right.
So it's always good to have this kind of interaction between all the guys, especially because we all know each other online and compete online on the WBots. Yeah. But it's fun to have like everyone here at the same.
Yeah. Well, a lot of these overclockers are familiar faces to the MOA competition. We had 2 or 3 that were brand new. This is their first.
We had Rodi from Indonesia, first time here in the MOA, but that's although his first time worldwide live competition. He's one of the latest top guys to be in the game. If you look at the total ranking, like overall ranking worldwide of the guys, Rodi is like, I think it's like position 1524, I think.
Oh.
In the global worldwide ranking, but all the other are all in the top 100. So he managed to get here. He finished 11th yesterday for the classic battle, so that's a decent achievement. Yeah. We also have Moose83 from Germany. That's although his first time for live overclocking competitions, and he finished 4th.
Yeah, yesterday. He's taking home money.
Yeah. Like first time here, you get your trip paid, and you get some money if you're good enough.
Yeah.
That's good to see. So Stepanti is still benching. Maybe we can switch back to some of the guys. Tolsi is very dedicated to it. There's a lot of smoke going on in the system.
We should also explain that the No Limits battle is considerably longer than the classic battle, and things happen at a slower pace. Whereas with the classic battle, you had 2 hours per benchmark, so there was always something going on. A little bit more excitement, a bit more buzz in the air. With this is kind of a relaxing, afternoon of overclocking. This is something that any one of these guys does in their garage or back office or living room.
Well, when you have just take time, it's a relaxed mind. Yesterday the classic battle was 2 hours for each benchmark, and you have to submit the scores in these 2 hours. You have to run the benchmark in these 2 hours. So that was very tight in terms of making sure that you can get everything set up, and every time you fail or the hardware fail on you, you need to remount everything, and it's taking time, and you're losing time.
Yep. Oh no.
Well, Dennis, what was your last hardware you overclocked?
The last hardware I overclocked.
I'm not sure I could say it on stream without getting in trouble.
Oh, so what kind of chipset that was?
It was X99 chipset with a 5960X. It was actually a motherboard review.
Interesting. So that was the latest one from Intel with some DDR4 on it. How do you like DDR4?
Jury is still out on DDR4. It's new enough that it doesn't play well with a lot of system BIOSes.
If we take a look at the scoreboard, we have Wizard T from France that is in the leading position right now with 48 points. These 48 points are the total amount of points that he have overall. So he needs to meet a lot of benchmark with a little amount of points, but he's actually in the lead by 28 points. The second one is from Indonesia, B-Boy-G's. They have, although the two guys, it's funny because they have the same strategy. Wizard T is using two systems at once.
Yep.
So you have two systems, two keyboard, two screens to submit twice score. Because he can bench 2 times the setup because he doesn't have to overclock or maintain a certain temperature for it. So you can overclock it, run it like this and submit the scores. B-Boy-G's is doing the same. You have one setup that is just a basic low-end benchmark that you can get a little amount of points for it, and then he's benching VGAs on the side.
Yep.
So that's a good combination. That's actually interesting to see that there was no rules to limit that.
Well,
So
if you have components to support that, then it's really easy to set up 2 systems. We have plenty of desk space in between the overclockers, so they're not limited to just one, which is nice.
And the third place we have Tolsti that we did speak a lot. Tolsti only submitted the score with their R290X, so that's one setup is actually third. Vivi, the winner from yesterday, the classic battle, is on the 4th place, while his countrymate from South Africa is 5th. They both have exactly the same number of points, while Moose83, that was 4th yesterday, is now 6th in these competitions. If we scroll down a bit, we have pretty much only the top 10 that did submit scores for this No-Limit battle. There is only 3 hours and 33 minutes left for these competitions. So I will keep cheering for Wizardy because I'm a French guy and I have to do it. So you will keep cheering for Stepanti and Maximilian, I guess.
Yeah, I'm pulling for those guys. So that, they've submitted scores already. Stepanti is positioned to the point where he can get the points he needs to have to win this, but he has to complete the benchmarks first.
Well, that's I like all the way. How do the guys do cool down the system? They use we don't use CPU cooler. We don't use like a special water cooling thing.
They use what they call a CPU container, a pot. It would be we have 2 of them from Bauer, right here. Switch.
Oh, too bad I got the CPU cooler.
It's the heavy one. You should have known that.
Yeah.
On the surface, it's basically solid copper. It's been hollowed out. Top of it's aluminum to get you an extension. flat bottom with a thermocouple hole right here. This is
Let's
where you
put the
your,
thermometer.
This is where you put your thermometer. That sits on top of your CPU, and you pour your liquid nitrogen in here. As it evaporates, it removes heat from the copper, which is removing heat from your CPU. Oh yes. Here.
So the CPU is here, and you're just getting away all the heat that's coming from. You have some special design from the inside. There's a lot of different ways to do it, and there's a lot of different. Oh, there's LN2 small here.
We have some LN2. All right, so we'll need to move the camera slightly.
Let's have to move my notebook. So, let's see what we can do with this.
All right. So first things, LN2 is very, very cold.
And that's dangerous.
And that's dangerous. But it has a very low specific heat, so whenever it encounters something warm, it immediately starts to boil.
That's
which would be like your hand.
Don't do it! Don't do it! Every time you have to use LN2, you have to be careful because we have been using LN2 for years now, so it's actually something we know how to control and make things work. So you can see all the smoke you're seeing is actually water. Yeah, nitrogen
vapor and water.
Yeah. So, oh. Yeah. And it's a very smelly one. So these things will get very, very cold in the next few seconds, just to cool down the. Usually we have like a heat source behind that, just warming up the CPU.
Well, our heat source now is the table.
Well, that won't be a lot.
This is also important. You can see this. It is an expanding gas, so you do not want to trap it in anything.
So that's the thing. As this 1 liter of liquid nitrogen is taking the same space as 273 liters of air.
Yep.
So that's a ratio for like 1/2 something. It's a lot of expansion for it. So that's why you never keep that in a closed environment. So that's why we cannot use it as closed loop. Although be careful, guys. All the guys here are using that because they are overclockers. They know how to do it, and they actually do train a lot to make sure that there is no issue at all when they are using liquid nitrogen, especially here when there's a lot of people around, or during live demonstration when you bench at home. Seems like we still have some smoke coming out.
Well, it'll take a little while for this to occur, but
that would be pretty cold now.
Just leave that there.
That was cool. So let's go back to the competition. Competition today is the no-limit battle, and what they have to do is to submit as many benchmarks as they can with a lot of different hardware to be sure they gain points on HWBot.
Do you know how many benchmarks?
15 benchmarks.
15
from
benchmarks.
3 categories: Legacy, 2D, and 3D. So, who else can we show you guys? There we have Nacho Arroyo from Argentina on the stream. We also have a few other guys. Tolsky is still benching big time. There's a lot of smoke on his system, and always focused, always trying to get things work. Always trying to make sure that all the benchmark is not crashing. He had some issue earlier today with that. You can see it full screen now. You can see that he's having his paper with all his notes on top of that. So it'll be interesting to see how he ended up, because he's actually in the third place. Steponze is still benching, although
Yeah.
So Stepanzi from the US, I think he's still running Catzilla. He's trying to get his stuff work, but
He was having a little trouble getting the three-way crossfire to work on the board that should support it, but not doing it very well.
so let's see. Maybe it's like he tried to run the benchmark, just taking time. Let's see. A lot of smoke, as you can see.
Mm-hmm. Here's he's waiting for a judge.
So still trying to find out what the benchmark is doing. Dennis, we can go back to like the details of this special no-limit battle structure.
Oh, great.
So as we said, there's the classic battle that was yesterday, and we are now the no-limits battle. The no-limits battle is split in 3 different competitions. First one is the legacy. That's the older benchmark that are more system-bound now, that just performancing within the performance. So it's Super Pi 32M, Pi Fast, 3Mark 03, 3Mark 05, and Acromark 3.
Yes.
So all these benchmarks are interesting because they are old enough so everyone knows the tweak. And there's the slight adjustment that you need to happen.
Well, the legacy ones are just old, so they're designed for older systems. They still run on the modern systems, but they test mostly the full system performance and stability. Super Pi 32M is one that we used in the classic battle yesterday. Concentrated mostly on single-threaded performance, CPU, and memory interaction. Pi Fast is very similar to that, and then 3Mark 03, 05, and Aquamark are old 3D benchmarks, which now kind of test full system, being able to get data from the CPU to the video card and back again.
Well, and then we have 2D. The 2D class is just CPU benchmark. That's raw performances for CPU.
Most of these are the multi-threaded versions of the 2D benchmarks.
Yeah. So Legacy, most of the guys will run that on Windows XP, while 2D and 3D, they will run that on Windows 7 right most of the time. So we had in 2D, we had HWBot Prime, we had XTU, Cinebench Earth 11.5 and Cinebench Earth 15, as well as W Prime 1024.
Yep, 1024.
You got 32 and 1024. I like HW Prime. It's easy. You just fire up, run, and you just give the scores.
Well, it's a simple benchmark. You open it and click a button. Aquamark, the new wrapper for that, is also very similar. You just click a button and it runs pretty quick.
No.
So then we get into 3D. These are the fun ones if you have a lot of graphic cards to test. We'll start with 3Mark Firestrike, which is the latest one. It's not the extreme, but it's the very low end, so it's low resolution. 3Mark 11 Performance, which is a benchmark on hard robots to get you global points as well. Heaven DirectX 11, that's one that we showed on stream not too long ago. 3Mark Vantage, which is the one that Stepanzi was running that we just saw a little while ago. And Catzilla 720p.
Because Catzilla, you have in all of these benchmarks, you have different profile you can run, and you have to make sure that everyone is running the same profile to be able to compare the score.
Right.
It's the same. You can have a racing game, but not use the same track, so you cannot compare the time.
Yeah,
it's exactly the same thing. So I think we can switch back to Tulsi. The stream of Tulsi is actually about to finish the Catzilla scores,